All right. Well, hello, Rebelthon. My name is Bobby Lynn, Moss Espa Base, and I am here with Martin Rezard. He is a concept artist and sculptor who was lucky enough to work on all the new Star Wars films from Force Awakens all the way up to Rise of Skywalker. How you doing today?
Not too bad, thank you. It's a lovely day today in London.
Fantastic. So, a couple easy, soft questions for you right away. Do you like Star Wars?
I don't mind. No,
I don't
yeah, no, I've always been a big fan. Yeah,
Fantastic.
always been a big fan.
What was your first contact with it? How did you get introduced to it?
I think I saw A New Hope. Um, but I think the first time I saw it, it was like a reduced version. Maybe it was on a fairground thing, or it wasn't properly at the cinema. It was a strange thing that the French do. And then I went to see it at the cinema, and I was hooked. Then waiting for the next ones and the next ones. And yeah.
Awesome. So out of all the films and movies, and books and comics and show, we have so much stuff now. Do you have a specific favorite?
I'm not really familiar with the comics or the books. I, uh, out of the films, I think Empire Strikes Back is
Mm,
still remains my favorite. It's just there's a darkness in there that's very fitting. Yeah, it's really still my favorite, I
yeah,
think.
great choice. Great choice. I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with that.
Mm.
You have a favorite character?
Uh, I'm not sure that I would. I mean, if you asked me when I was 13, that would have been Han Solo, because
I mean, Han's always a great choice.
who wouldn't want to hang out with a Wookiee, you know?
Exactly. Or fly
Uh,
the Falcon.
yeah, that's just the coolest job in the universe, isn't it?
Well, speaking of cool jobs, yours is pretty awesome. I mean, you get to design and then make aliens. I mean, who doesn't love aliens?
Yeah, no, it's a very fun place, and it's made fantastic by the people you work with, who are all kind of problem solvers and geniuses and inventors, and it's just really cool. Yeah.
And then let's
Very-
talk about how you got into that, like your schooling, and then how you got into the luck of getting to actually work on Star Wars.
Um, I didn't study much arts. I I did about a year. I wasn't very good at school. It wasn't the same for me. I kind of developed experimented in my garage, in my parents' garage with friends, and we were making latex masks and studying prosthetics and puppets and stuff like that. And I started in the mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s by working for various theater companies for which I was doing props and masks and puppets. And then in late 90s, we moved to Australia because I knew Fox Studio was opening there. And we got there just as they were starting to shoot The Matrix. And that's when I started getting more serious about working on films. And I was hired on The Matrix. I was hired on Komodo, which probably nobody has seen. I was hired, and then I got onto Farscape, which is a sci-fi TV series, and I worked on about 4 seasons on Farscape. And then the prequels came to town, and when the Clone Wars started pre-production, I got a call, and I was asked if I would like to work on it in the costume props department, which is helmets and armors and
Oh,
jewelry.
awesome.
And I said, Star what? No, I said, no. So yeah, I got hired. The first Star Wars films I worked on was Clone Wars. for the costume prop department. And then a couple of years later, they came back and we did Revenge of the Sith, for which I was fortunate enough to be working on the Darth Vader, the recreation of Darth Vader.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. One day, my supervisor came in and went, "We've got to take measurements of this. So could you just take as much reference as you can and measurements?" And I opened the box, and that was the reveal helmet from Jedi, the one that when he takes it off, I was like, oh. So that was quite something. But there's always little moments like that. So that I worked on those two prequels, and then we moved back to London, and it was only I worked with Neil Scanlon on Prometheus, in 2009, maybe 10, and when he got the gig to do Force Awakens, he called me again and said, "Would you like to join us?" And I went, "Yay!" I was doing prosthetics on Guardians of the Galaxy at the time. So yeah, no, it was a fantastic opportunity. I couldn't turn it down.
That's an amazing road to go through.
Yeah.
What's it like seeing something that because as the concept artist, you doodle the idea of the character, and then how many times have you actually gotten to sculpt that thing and then get to see it on film?
Oh yeah, that's when you can get the full art. That's the best part of the job, when you can sell a concept or your concept gets picked up, then you sculpt it, then you either take it on set as a prosthetic or see it in its environment. It's very very great satisfaction professionally, that's for sure. I only got into concepting in the last 10, 15 years. Before that, I was mainly like a model maker or sculptor. Or, I didn't bring a lot of ideas to the table. It's all there's lots of cogs making this machine work. I was just one of them, but I kept myself oiled and rolling, and I didn't fall off the machine. And there's probably a bit of luck in there as well.
Is there one that you prefer of the other? Like, do you just really love sculpting, or has the new concept stuff become a new passion for you?
What I really like is being able to move from one job to another, like doing a bit of concepting. Concepting is great, but it's very tricky because you have to find that space which is in between what the director wants and what you think would be cool. Just it's very heady, and it's not that simple. When it comes to sculpting, it's like, oh, okay, that's just, it starts to feel like a holiday a bit more. And I'm even still doing other things like lab work and, pouring silicone and doing a bit of mold making. And it's just the ability of being able to move here and there, just apply a makeup at 4 a.m. and spend the day on set, all those things. Just the variety that it offers is what I really like about what I do.
That's fantastic. How often have you ever seen like one of the finished masks and just wanted to put it on and jump in the scene?
No, I'm not eager to be in front of the camera at all. Not at all.
So, of the ones that you've created that have been in some of the new movies, do you have one that you really love, or one that you were shocked even made it through the process?
I was really proud of Radus. Radus appears in Rogue One. He's the calamari. Is it general or
Admiral.
admiral?
Yes.
I was really proud of this one because I discussed the design with the director and finished the sculpts, and then came up with a color scheme, and then I worked with the animatronic engineer Gustav to make sure that we would just discuss what it could do, and he would put his genius to it. And it's one of those characters that you see quite a bit of, which is not always the case, especially in films as big as Star Wars. Sometimes a lot of energy is spent creating characters to the most minute detail, but they only make a fleeting appearance on screen, and that's always a bit heartbreaking. But at least with Radus, he's got a bit of screen time, which is good.
And on
And
the opposite end of that spectrum, was there one that you poured your heart and soul into? Thought, oh, this one's gonna be so cool. People are gonna love this one. And then he was,
in the same film, in Rogue One, there was we did a Beezer Fortuna, which is like a distant cousin of Beeb Fortuna, and the performer we created the makeup around had a very striking physical features. He's got a very long neck, and we managed to come up with a makeup that looked quite amazing. There was a couple of yeah, and it was quite good. There was a scene where he was prison in a prison cell where that tentacular creature is picking up your brain waves, and he was topless, and he looked amazing. And but that scene was cut, or he was cut from that scene, and now you only see it in the background somewhere. And that was a bit of a sad moment because we thought it looked fantastic, but it didn't really happen. But then you don't really have any control over that. We
right.
enjoyed it as we were doing it, and then it's either it's there or it's not there. You know?
Now, I really love Solo and the Sabacc scene where Han and Lando meet in that room filled with all those creatures and everything.
Yeah, that was a great scene. That was a great scene. I was lucky enough to have one of my designs picked up there once again, Six Eyes.
Yes.
And that was magical. That was absolutely magical. Once again, Gustav and Matt Denton did the animatronic and the programming, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. When that head was on, it's they had like a gyroscope sort of thing inside it. So if you were wearing the mask and you just turn your head like that, the eyes would all follow without needing any control. It was just a natural movement that was programmed in the head. It just followed the movement, and kind of all the eyes it was so fluid. It was incredibly beautiful to watch.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, when that happens, it's just it's incredible because you try and push design as far as possible. You tell yourself stories about what it's going to do and where it comes, but when it actually comes to life, it's very exciting. The dogs were a good success as well. There was the dogs, the Corellian hounds at the start of Solo. They're one of my designs as well. There was 4 of us in the design room on Solo, and for some reason, two of us. There was only 2 of them in the room when the call came, and Jake, who was the other designer, had already a pile of things to design, and I was kind of in between 2 things. So they said, we need to design some hell dogs. Could you something like that?
What a great description for them.
I just grabbed it and ran with it, and I did a whole lot of sketches, quick sketches, and then we just refine until we got to the then did some maquettes and some ZBrush concepts, and then I did the sculpt of the dogs around a scan of a dog, because those dogs were dogs in costumes mainly, and we had 2 puppets for a short scene when they're inside the speeder. There were a lot of work, but they just worked so well. It was really cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think we've taken up enough of your time today, but if people want to follow your work or check you out more, is there, other than your website?
Yeah, my website is probably the best place to check my work. It's not very, very up to date because a lot of the stuff I did recently hasn't been released, and there's always NDAs and things like that. So even though I spent most of last year on Jurassic World Dominion. I can't show any of it because it's not coming out until next year.
Right.
Um, I still have to pull up some updates on the last film of the Star Wars trilogy. But yeah, I was lucky enough on the last film to recreate, to be part of the team that recreated the Emperor makeup. And I worked with Lucy Sibic, who got an Oscar for The Darkest Tower, and I sculpted it and we applied it together. And there was one day when we were on set, and the set was just absolutely amazing. It was that huge throne room at the very end, and I was just looking at that and looking at JJ directing Ian in his makeup, and the makeup was looking so cool, and I was going, it doesn't get any cooler than that, does it? And then in walks Spike Lee. I was, oh, it does get cooler. It was the BAFTA season, and he was just there to receive a BAFTA for Black Klansman. Yeah, that was a good day on set. That was a good
That's
day.
amazing. Man, what a fun life you lead.
Oh wow, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Well, without you, we wouldn't get this great stuff.
Yeah, true. I'm not the only one, but yeah, it's a good fun job.
Well, thank you so much for answering our questions and spending some time with us today. And hopefully we raise some money for UNICEF.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right. So have a nice day, Rebel Thon, and may the force be with you.